Good morning from a very cloudy Brisbane. Today I'm off to Melbourne to see what's good in the hood and to see what's up. I've just passed through check-in and security, so now I'm just sort of hanging around the airport and looking for anything to take with me. Found my breakfast here, which is just a bowl of ramen. And shortly after, I go find my gate before it's time to board.
VB long neck.
After a 2-hour and 20-minute plane ride, I touched down at Melbourne Airport before finally arriving in the suburb of Richmond. Also just had my first chili steak. So after a long day of travelling, I finally managed to catch some sleep before waking up the next day and having a nice shower in this very spacious bathroom. And soon after, I'm gone. I'm hitting the streets. Come along with me.
We can dance if we want to. We can leave your friends behind. 'Cause your friends don't dance, and if they don't dance, then they're no friends of mine.
We've arrived at the entrance, and here, right in front of us, is the skeletal remains of a dinosaur as well as a skeleton of a snake. Specifically, a big frickin' python. Next we have some skeletal remains of some other dinosaurs. One of them is a velociraptor. I forgot about the other ones. Sorry. There was a section dedicated to bugs, but at the time it wasn't open. Bugger it. Maybe next time. On the other side of the exhibit, we have a showcase of a lot of native animals from Australia. Birds, marine animals, land animals. Many I do recognise, but some I've never actually seen before. Heading into the next exhibit, we find an area dedicated to crystals. A lot of weird rocks, obscure minerals, a lot of rocks which you just don't see every day, and gems which are highly sought after, as they are worth a lot of money and are extremely rare. Also in this exhibit, at some points you may see some space rock like meteorite, for example. Such a cool display. After discovering this neon sign of a Triceratops head, it was safe to assume what was next. The exhibit focuses on the Australian dinosaurs that once existed on this great continent and what happened to them, how they lived, what their environmental conditions were, and etc. It also featured, perhaps, one of my favourite parts of the whole museum trip. I don't know if it's the lighting or if it's the center of the room giving way to such a gigantic object, but seeing a full-size Triceratops really put me in a place which made me question myself and us as a human race. At what point do we look back before it's too late and realize that we haven't really done everything we could have done properly as a species? I mean, 85% of the display here is real while the rest is perpetrated, but still, just seeing the remnants of this beast in this form, it just makes me think about the future and what the future holds for us. These ginormous animals once lived and ruled where we now live, and now they're all gone. Maybe we'll all die out and won't be able to feel anything. Who knows? But who cares about the past and the present and whatever when we have trains? Moving on, and we find ourselves in front of a case containing some old memorabilia found around the Melbourne area. After this, we find our next exhibit, which holds a lot of miniature models of things like trains, houses, etc. A lot of these are also made in Melbourne. A big part of this exhibit, no pun intended, was this mansion. This is essentially a giant mansion with many different rooms and bedrooms and everything reduced to miniature model form. If you look closely, there is a lot of detail, such as curtains that look like real curtains, wallpaper, even in the cellar, there are some wine barrels in there, I'm pretty sure. Actually, in the next room over where this exhibit is already placed, there's a room which has actually been increased to human size, so it feels like you're actually in the dining room seen in the miniature mansion. Moving on for the miniature section is the section which celebrates and showcases a lot of Melbourne's history as a city. Starting off, we're going to venture into this little exhibit, an old, decrepit style early settler home. Would have been replicated after one which was found in the early 1800s. As we can see, this is how people lived back then. It's very dirty, but it's strangely homely. Imagine having to try and do your business in a small vicinity like this, surrounded by brick with a wooden stool. This is it. This is life in the 1800s in Melbourne. A couple of books here and there, obviously a toilet, and some adequate lighting. I'm still grateful for what we have today, although having a look back through here, it's really interesting how our first settlers once lived. The last little bit of items that I'm going to show to you are a lot of the other historic Melbourne memorabilia and other paraphernalia that has been collected in the museum's history, including this display of Australia's most famous racehorse, Far Lap. More like Fart Lap. Haha. And that's pretty much everything I recorded. I didn't do much else after the Melbourne trip. I stayed for another day, went to Monster Jam, and I went home again. However, if you enjoyed this little tour of this museum I went to, and if you're living in Australia, or specifically Victoria, I would highly recommend visiting this place as it's very good. It has a lot of very entertaining exhibits, and it's very informative about its objects that it is displaying. If you want to get tickets, check out the link in the video here, and make sure you go because it is much better in person. But other than that, that is it for today's video. Hope you enjoyed it. And yes, I am going to make more Halloween videos leading up to Halloween. So be patient, please. Alright, see you, bye!